the sermon's topic is how to fulfill a responsibility. Happy New Year. Maybe. I thought that's on our minds when we're looking forward to a new year, right? We all have anticipation, what we can do, what's going to happen. And maybe we look back on a year which passed and we're thinking, oh, what did I do? What didn't do? And so what we didn't do last year, we can do this year. Yeah. So that's always a positive sign with something new. I thought about it. Yeah, New Year is always a positive sign. Getting a little lighter. Even the cold comes, it's getting a little lighter. And yeah, something new, right? It's always nice. We get a new start. So, and also it is very connected to this year's motto. We're going to read from Mother's New Year message. This is like this. You already read it, I guess. But in the 13th year of Chunaguk, when we attend the Creator, Heavenly Parents substantially, let us, the blessed families around the world, become true sons and daughters of Chunaguk, who fulfills our responsibility as a chosen people to unite with her parents. So Mother, I read some comments from Mother. She really emphasized this word responsibility. So I thought I was to use this as my topic today. Yeah, what is responsibility? What does it contain? And it's a very heavy word, actually. It's like a feeling of duty, a little bit like this, right? A little bit heavy. Or at least I used to feel responsibility. You have to do this, you have to do that. Doesn't feel so, light feeling many times maybe. But I think it is the opposite, actually, or should be seen as the opposite, I hope. Because Mother is very concerned about what's going on in the world. We should all be very concerned. Many things going on in the world today, which is not so nice and worrisome. And that she is preparing this big event for this coming year, the Chonil Sanctum in Chonwongung, Korea. And I'm sure some of you are preparing to go there. Maybe Mother is really, and she's asking us to make this condition to support her into this event. And myself, I don't think, I made my own condition actually in support of this, and I've been thinking about this Chonil Sanctum, how it's going to be used. I have a great vision that world leaders can come there and negotiate and make peace and start a truly new providence opening up. But in one sense, maybe that's very abstract, and I think also Mother is really asking us, each one of us, to look into ourselves more and reflect about ourselves, what we can do in our very daily life. I think that's also very important. But today and tomorrow, actually, it's a red day also. You are off from work. Maybe you have planned something to do tomorrow. I don't know, but it's a red day. And why is that? Yeah, because it's a special Christian holiday. On the honor of this, I have my Christmas tie on me. And it is in Sweden we have trettondagshelgen, right? But in the English term, if Christianity, they use the term Epiphany. And it is about this story about the three wise men. So I don't know how I grew up. I grew up in a very Christian family, and I was always asked as a child to move these small three wise men one step closer. And tomorrow they're supposed to arrive to Jesus, right, in the crib. Whatever it was. Anyway, this is the building. And the interesting thing is that, in the Bible, so today's Bible's theme, I always think about what does the Bible say, what's the traditional Christian. It is referring to the three wise men. And so I will read from a little bit part of the Matthew. Is in the time of King Herod. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his stars at its rising, and have come to pay his homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all the rulers with him, and calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, and inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. So, yes, the story is, which maybe is not factual true, that King Herod then was, instead of being happy, exciting that the Messiah is going to be born in his country, he was terrified because he saw this more from his own perspective. This is a rivalry. Someone going to take my place. I read a little bit about King Herod, actually. He was put in a power. He was Jewish, so he knew. Some call him the Great Herod because he built the temple or improved the temple building, actually to prepare for the Messiah, who he wanted to kill. But he didn't think about that. He thought probably more about his power and his relation with the Romans, because the Roman emperor had put him into place there. So he was a little bit like a puppet of the big Roman Empire. And I think that story goes again, that sometimes you have a ruler or somebody, they have a responsibility is to care for their nation and their people, but maybe they see it a little differently and listen to other people and other influences because that's their power. For them, maybe their responsibility, their view is that, I have my power and I should keep my power. So, so the story goes that actually he started killing all the children. He asked the three wise men to come back to him and report him, where is this man, so I can find this Jesus and honor him. But the three wise men, they got a revelation to not go back to Herod. So then he, after he supposedly, according to the Bible, killed all the young kids. And Jesus had to go, escape to Egypt. So that's the story about Herod. And there's also a story about the three wise men. These are also stories coming up, but I think it also shows some people taking responsibility, right? They show they have this vision, they want to honor and recognize the Messiah coming, the born king. And I guess they assumed that if it's the Messiah coming, he will be born in a castle. I guess that's why they went to Herod's castle, because they saw the castle, maybe he's born there. And they realized, no, it's not there. They had to go somewhere else, right? In the Swedish text, Bible text today, they don't read this text, which I thought was a little bit interesting. They have another text, and that's referring to actually when Jesus is growing up. He goes into this very temple, which Herod at that time then had built, restored, and then he threw out the merchants from the temple. Is it not written, he says in the Mark, my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations, but you made it a den of robbers. He was referring to all the merchants trying to make money in the temple. But Jesus thought it was so offensive to use this. This should be a sanctuary place. So, of course, consequently, people were really frightened. They felt their conscience struck. But also the people of interest, they didn't like this Jesus. He was a rebel doer. He was a bad person. So, of course, he challenged their sense of interest, right? And that is what many times we take responsibility. Many times we think about it that it's just that we go along with the flow. I do what I have to do. But actually, we need to also reflect. What is really my responsibility? How do I take care of? What is the purpose, for instance, of the temple? Or what is the purpose of my life? How do I cater this? But it's so easy. Many times we just gravitate and do the easy way. Or we do what everybody else is doing just because we don't think for ourselves. But actually, I think what the Bible and Traumatic is calling upon us actually is to reflect. What is your responsibility? How can you take it? And how to can fulfill it? And see it from a high perspective. Because actually taking this responsibility is something that also should give us sense of pleasure. I mean, God gave us, we say God is love, right? So how do we experience love and joy? Yeah, that's when it's because of freedom. And freedom is about not just doing whatever we want to do, but actually is to take that sense of responsibility, do something for others, do something greater, which is meant to do, which I can do. I cannot do something other people do, but we can each one of us find out what is that I can do, what's required of me at this time to do those things. And this can be very sort of abstract in one sense. We're thinking about our sense of direction in life, a sense of a potential, what we can do. But it also can be very down-to-earth things. So I had this experience when I was thinking about this. The snow came this year, right? This year the snow came, right? And when some of you maybe don't have to think so much about the snow, or you dress a little warmer maybe, but in my case, so I live in the countryside, I have to take away the snow, because when the snow comes down, it's a lot of snow there. But also I use a shovel to take away the snow. But then the shovel doesn't take away all the snow, right? It takes away the big part. So maybe that's okay, one would think. But then if new snow comes on top, it melts the snow underneath, which is packed. So it becomes very icy and very slippery. So what's this problem? So how do I take away that? That's very difficult with my shovel. But then on day after, on Christmas, when we celebrated Christmas, the persons came up to us to visit us. And for some reason, I was very surprised. Fred gave me a spade. I wonder, why you give me the spade for? I don't know. But he said, this is perfect. You can dig here, you can do that, and it's perfect for ice. And you can crack the ice. Aha, I thought about it. So when I was using my shovel, I thought, maybe I should try this spade I got from Fred. And then to crack this hard-packed, it was not icy yet. It was a little bit icy getting in the snow, but it was very hard-packed snow. So I started using that. And it worked very well, because I underneath had stones, so it cracked very easily, so I could take away all the packed snow. So I thought that was very nice, right? It was very nice, Fred, just spontaneous. I didn't ask for this spade. I didn't know that I needed this type of spade. But then it was there, and it was prepared, and then the snow came, and then I could use it. It was perfect. It was like God inspired. And actually his daughter, Solveig was it, told me that actually we were praying, and we forgot about the spade, and then Fred got this revelation that he has to get the spade. So it was really spiritual, this, or I feel very... So it can be very interesting, right? Something very practical, very mundane, something no one thinks about it. But sometimes, yeah, there's a lot of spirit in there, a lot of heart behind that you can use this simple thing, but it can be very useful, which you didn't even realize to use it. So now it's now I don't have it, so now I have to wait for the new snow. But now it's all the ice is gone in front of my porch. So that is like, there's another aspect of, I think, this taking responsibility. We need to understand what is going on, and then we need to actualize on it, and we need to act according to our understanding. So we have this with Jesus looked at the temple, right? He said, you have this temple to worship God. You have to take responsibility for this, to use it in the right way. You cannot just do anything you want. So Jesus felt the responsibility to speak up and say, you know, this temple is for God. Don't forget that. It has a certain purpose. And the three wise men, they had a sense of responsibility also. They felt, you know, the Messiah is coming. We had to give some gift. We had to do something. We tried to figure out the best way to do it. And they acted on that. And Herodes didn't take a responsibility. He obviously felt, well, it's all about me anyway, so he had other ideas. Instead of kind of supporting Jesus and see that he could help him, maybe to build Judea and make a great kingdom, no, he didn't see that way. So he didn't take that responsibility because his understanding was lacking. So this understanding and doing the right thing is, of course, very much important, and it affects all of us. Sometimes we might think that religious people or Jesus himself might know exactly what to do, but they do it because they cultivate a good consciousness, right, and thinking and reflecting about life. And I think so it is with our true parents also. And that's why True Mother also emphasizes now that she's not just building this place for people to come, but we have to prepare our hearts a little bit, as I think Peter mentioned, right, for the workshop. We have to prepare ourselves innerly, then we can receive the best way. So that's also why Mother is fulfilling this. What was going to the one gone. This. Let's look at the word now. We did in Uppsala. What was the name of it? Chombo. It lost my mind. The Chombo event. So that was like Mother prepared herself for the Chombo event. So I was going to say something about that, what I felt. There was a reflection last week, and I attended also. So I thought, here in Pure Moon, coming all the way around the world, coming to Sweden, we cannot miss this opportunity to go to the Chombo event, and we're having this session, and also a way to prepare ourselves internally. And also maybe to think about, we think maybe we liberate our ancestors and so on, but it's also taking responsibility for our ancestors, but also for ourselves and for our future, right? So it is also usually very profound and good experiences we have there. So then I thought also about everyone who prepared this event. I mean, the event, the place itself was amazing. We mentioned a little bit, but I had to say it again. I think I was so fascinated by this story. This is a man who went 30 years ago to India and wanted to build like a sacred place and so now he created this kind of place there where people can have meditation and for spiritual activities, all this spiritual activity. And then we find this place, and we come across, and he's happy that we can be. It's a perfect place for the workshops and things like that. So I really hope that we can use it forward also when we have bigger groups. When Cluten's not big enough, maybe, then we can use this place. I hope there can be. That's a way of acting. So he acted on his intuition to do something and took responsibility for it. And we who came there, and everyone came there fixing the food and fixing everything. I was quite amazed. Everything worked out so fine. Yeah, everyone took responsibility. Then everything works so fine. I don't know, my responsibility was just to appreciate it and be there, I felt. And that was... easy for me maybe, but enjoyable. I couldn't enjoy it anyway. To appreciate what everyone else is doing, it is also an act of responsibility. I think, like to appreciate what other people do for you. What?
You did it perfectly.
Thank you. So that's very wonderful. So but at one point, Im Pyo Moon asked us. So before lunch, he said, after lunch, we're coming back here so we can ask some questions. He said, okay. So I thought maybe more a practical nature, what this is. But I had a question in my mind, been lingering a long time now, this fall, and that is what the new theology, with the only begotten daughter. And I could not really felt maybe this is something I should understand, so I can take good responsibility for it. But I really pushed it aside. I felt like, this is too theological. I'm not so interested in it. I don't know. But then I thought, okay, he's from Korea. He's in Cheongpyeong. He should have a good perspective. Because I tried to ask David Han also. I felt I got a very he didn't know so much, simply. He was very honest. He said, I don't know so much. I cannot say so much. But I thought maybe he's from Korea. Cheongpyeong, he should have a better insight. So then I asked him actually, is it proper I can ask you this question? Maybe because I understood it's kind of a little bit controversial in our movement. Some are getting a little bit upset about this, and it caused a little bit antagonism among some, maybe. Question, concern about how should we interpret this. So I asked him this question. It's okay, I can ask you this question. So he said, yeah, sure. And then finally I did ask this question, and then he actually spent a lot of time addressing this. So you got a full answer. But it was also this with responsibility, actually. He said that even true parents, even Father himself, even he wants to take responsibility for God and for the providence. But it doesn't mean that God directly tell him everything he has to do. No, his responsibility is to figure that one out. He has to find out best, according to his understanding, what the providence is and what his calling is on his side. So he can do this. So it is so easy, I think, at times in a religious life, we think about someone else will take that responsibility. We're pushing it away. Our God or the Messiah will fix it up, or the priest will fix it up. I just go here and sit there. Yes, it's good if you can appreciate it, but you have to do something also with it, right? And so I think that's also that Father and True Mother, they take responsibility, try to figure out the best way, and then they try to show us the way how we can do it also in our own lives. So we know how to basically, we have the basic track, how to live our lives, responsibility of faithful and duty, and be honesty. But then always comes challenges, right? Always problems comes around, and then your emotions are triggered, and your fallen nature is coming in, and many other things. So you don't really know. Sometimes it's easy to take the right decisions. So for True Father, so according to True Mother, there is actually not only father's point of view also. She also wants to share there is a motherly point of view, and I guess that's why she talks very much about the only begotten daughter. She wants to say that there's with Jesus, the only begotten Son, there's the masculine aspect of God, and there is the only begotten daughter, the feminine aspect of God. So both of these needs to corroborate. And just because you are feeling you're one with God doesn't mean that only means as I am a man, I can only see God's God's masculine perspective, but then there is the feminine aspect of it. So to me, it illustrates actually that things are not so. It always requires us to, we can feel confident about certain things. We follow our consciousness, but we need to always to reflect. There's always this element of reflection, I think, to listen in, to understand better the whole picture. I can do my part, but my part is just part of the whole. And I think that's what I got from his message that, first of all, Father himself has to take responsibility for what he can do. Sometimes he can make not the right decisions, and then he can be some mistakes done. But he didn't want to say it was a mistake. But anyway, some things happens, so he has to make amends for it, and that's the way things are. And then Mother wants to show the feminine aspect of it to complement the masculine aspect of it. So I think through this we show that actually doing God's will, it is always a process of involvement. We need to take step by step to involve ourselves. The problem is, I think sometimes we try to, and I think this is a male problem, I should think, that we try to intellectualize too much. So we want to put things in categories and boxes. Sometimes that's good. But sometimes maybe we become too simplistic. We're missing the overall picture. So I know that, for instance, in religious life, there is in Jewish life, they had these Talmuds. I was thinking about this, that there's a lot of these commentaries, and people comment and comment and comment. And there's a lot of this theology, and theologians study theology, but they comment and reflecting. And so there's sometimes all of this, they're missing the vertical line, the vertical point. And I think that's this is the complicating factor. Is we had to use our intuition as part of our responsibility to think, but also to find how to move forward in life. And I think that's what True Mother's, that's how I interpret his message of True Mother, is like she wants to see how we can move forward to implement it, and implement also that, make a realization that as religion always been pushed by the male aspect of God, we need to also emphasize the motherly aspect of God. So that gives us nuances of what it means with responsibility. So I think the responsibility takes about, it has three aspects of it. My conclusion is that it is about understanding. We have to deepen our understanding about things, about my life, my potential, about God's providence. Otherwise, they had to act on this responsibility. And then we also conclusively had to also appreciate what others doing and trying to do. And I think that even if we do with our best heart and sincerity, even if we do mistakes, it's okay. We just have to do. Because sometimes we think of responsibility. If we fail, we don't want to be failures, right? But it's better to try to do something with a good motivation, with good sincerity. So even if you make mistakes, that's okay. Maybe the worst thing is to not do anything, right? So that is I think the encouragement. So maybe I think about for this coming year, we can look forward to see many things needs to be done. We can think about it, and we should not feel fear. We should try to do our best, and with that, we can contribute to the providence, and we can do things which can give us joy. Because at the end of this year, we will look back on what we did this year. We will think, we did this, and we did that, and I learned from this. I made a mistake there. But then I learned something from this, so I can move something forward. So with this, I hope that we can fulfill the vision, the heart of True Mother is asking us to take responsibility. We can understand what it is. We can do it in very different ways. But important is that we feel a sense of urgency and feel that each one of us can contribute something very important to making this community, our community, each other's communities, and this world a better place. Okay, let us pray. So